Okay, welcome to level 2 of our 7th grade RP1 videos. Please only move forward with this video if you have already understood level 1 and not just watched, understood level 1. And the reason this is level 2 is because now I have a mixed number, not just fractions and whole numbers. And that doesn't make it that much more complicated, it just adds one more step. So let's check it out. A bag with 2.5 ounces of peanuts can make 2/3 a jar of peanut butter. It can make 1 full jar with how many ounces of peanuts? So let's dive in here. I have a bag with 2.5 ounces of peanuts. Again, I'm looking for the 2 units, the 2 things, the 2 variables that I'm talking about in this question. Well, here we're talking about peanuts and peanut butter. Those are my 2 units. So I'm going to set up a ratio with those words. I have peanuts over, I'm going to say, peanut butter. Okay. And now I have to align the numbers. Again, it doesn't matter what goes on top and what goes on bottom as long as you line them up properly after that. Well, 2.5, that's the first number I see. It goes with peanuts. But the issue with 2.5 is I don't want to put any mixed numbers into my ratios down here. So before I do anything with 2.5, I want to change it to an improper fraction. So I'll show the first one. After that, I'm going to assume you understand how to convert these. We're going to do 2 times 2 plus 1. That gives us our numerator of 5. And we keep the denominator of 2. So 2.5 is just 5 over 2. I'm going to put 5 over 2 on top with peanuts because peanuts is on top. And 5 over 2 goes with peanuts. 5 over 2 must be on top. And I'm going to move on. Can make 2/3 of a jar of peanut butter. So the 2/3 clearly goes with peanut butter. So since peanut butter is on the bottom, 2/3 needs to also be on the bottom. It can make 1 full jar with how many ounces of peanut butter? So as I'm setting up my second fraction, again, I don't see any numbers. This is why you have to be able to recognize those words like full, entire, or whole. Right? Full jar means I'm looking for 1 jar. Right? 1 full jar. It can make 1 full jar with how many ounces of peanut butter? So 1 full jar of peanut butter. So the full jar goes with peanut butter, so I'm going to put a 1 right here. And then that's where it might have been more helpful if I wrote peanut butter jars, so that when I read this word jar, I didn't get confused. Because you can see I even got a little confused. I just want to make a note that this is jars of peanut butter. That's the unit we're talking about. Okay? And then I have this unknown. Okay? And that's where I see how many ounces of peanuts. The question always lends itself to this unknown. I'm going to put a P here for peanuts to represent that unknown quantity. Okay? And now let's cross multiply and solve. I'm going to do P times 2/3 is just 2/3 P. And cross sections are always equal to each other. So it's equal 5 over 2 times 1 over 1. Well, of course, 5 over 2 times 1 is just 5 over 2 equals 2/3 P. Now I have a one-step algebraic equation. Again, it has fractions, but fractions don't get special rules. So to undo this multiplication, I need to divide each side by 2/3. These will cancel out, and I get P by itself, which is what I want. And I need to do this math right here. Again, I like to do the math off to the side. 5 over 2 divided by 2 over 3. So I'm going to write that out in a way that makes more sense to me. 5 over 2 divided by 2 over 3. I'm going to keep, change, flip, keep 5 over 2, change to multiplication, flip to 3 over 2, and I get 15 over 4. And that is the answer. P is equal to 15 over 4. If you wanted to change it to a mixed number, it would be 3 3/4. that is not necessary, but either of these answers are correct. So that's the example. I'm going to erase this. Go ahead and pause your video and do the you do on your notes paper. Okay, hopefully you're unpausing now, and we have our question here. Please make sure you try it before you go over it with me. It takes 3.5 yards of thread to make 1/2 of a sock. How many yards of the thread will it take to make an entire sock? So again, I'm looking for my two units, the two things I'm talking about in this question. Well, it looks like we are talking about yards of thread and socks. So I need to set up my word ratio. I have a thread to socks ratio. And again, doesn't matter what goes on top as long as you stay consistent. Now I'm going to look for the numbers. I have another mixed number. So I need to convert 3.5 to a improper fraction, which is going to be 7/2. And this number clearly goes with thread, right? So because thread isn't on the top, my 7/2 needs to go on the top. Keep reading, find another number. I have 1/2 of a sock, so it clearly goes with sock. Because sock is on the bottom, 1/2 will also be on the bottom. How many yards of thread will it take to make an entire sock? It's another one of those words. That means 1, right? Entire just means 1. I'm going to write a 1 here. And it clearly goes with sock. So in my second fraction, I'm going to put a 1 here. And I want to know about thread. I'm going to put a T right here for thread. Right? And that makes sense. How many yards of thread? Again, you can see it in the question, right there. That's our unknown. That's our variable. I'm going to cross multiply to solve. 1/2 times T, I can just show as 1/2 T. 7/2 times 1 is just going to be 7/2, so I can drop that down. I get 1/2 T equals 7/2. Here's my one-step equation. You can note that I move faster on the you-dos than the examples. I'm going to divide each side by 1/2. To undo this operation, these will cancel out. I get T by itself, which is what I want. And I'm going to do this math over here. 7/2 divided by 1/2. 7/2 divided by 1/2. I'm going to keep change flip. 7/2 times 2/1. I get 14/2. This time I don't want to leave it like this. This is saying 14. Don't ever forget that line right there at the division. 14 divided by 2. I know 14 divided by 2 is 7. It takes 7 yards of thread to make one entire sock. Our answer here is 7.